Hi, my name is Alex and welcome to the Crochet Circle.
In this video tutorial, I want to show you how to make this changing colors flat circle-ish ornament. There are two sides of it. On this side, the colors are changed every 2 rows. On this side, 1 row, 1 row, 1 row, 2 rows, and then the last row is the white one. As you can see, the white one kind of has a bit of a icy look as well, with a stitch that you kind of grab it from one row lower. So I'm gonna show you all the secrets on how to do the invisible join, how to change the colors, how to join it. So let's begin. Now for this multicolored ornament that is still flat, I'm gonna need three different colors. I'm gonna do the first 2 rows in green, the next 2 rows in red, and the last 2 rows in white. The pattern is almost the same as the one that I was using the continuous rounds, so it's gonna be the base of 6, and then I'm gonna be increasing on 6 stitches each row, so it's gonna be 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and the last row is gonna be 36 because I think it's just the perfect size for a nice ornament for the tree. Let's begin. So first I'm gonna use my green yarn. As you can see, I have a bit of a I could call this one already scrap yarn because it's not a lot of it, but you don't need a lot of it as well. So I'm gonna start with a magic ring. I'm gonna grab my crochet hook. Let's focus on my fingers now and the crochet hook. I'm gonna go into the magic ring, grab the yarn and make a chain 1. Now I can reposition my magic ring, and now I have to do 6 single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pull the magic ring tight. Now I have to join it with the first stitch. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. Now row number 2 is gonna be chain 1 to go up into the next row, and 2 single crochets in each of the 6 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now in the last one, 11 and 12. Now what I have to do is cut the yarn, leave just a little bit of a tail because I'm gonna be doing the invisible join now. So grabbing my needle, I'm not gonna go into the first stitch, I'm gonna go into the second stitch because I'm gonna be overlapping the first stitch. And that's it. I'm just gonna secure it, meaning I'm gonna do a knot, and that's it. Now this is the first one done. What I could do is, no, I'm gonna do one and then I'm gonna do the second one. Now I'm grabbing the red yarn. Now the next row is gonna be going from 12 to 18, so I'm gonna be doing a single crochet and an increase. I'm just gonna begin somewhere. I'm going in with my crochet hook. I'm doing a chain 1 to go up into the next row. As you can see, I'm grabbing the tail and I'm gonna do a single crochet in the same stitch. Now I have to do an increase. Now 4 is a single crochet, 5, 6 is an increase, 7 is a single crochet, 8, 9 is an increase, 10 is a single crochet, 11, 12 is an increase, 13 is a single crochet, 14, 15 is an increase, 16 is a single crochet, 17, 18 is an increase, 18 and now I'm joining it with the first stitch and I'm pulling the stitch really tight together, because when I'm gonna be going into the next row, I'm gonna do a chain 1, again I'm pulling it tight, and I'm gonna do the first single crochet in the same stitch. So now to go from 18 to 24, I have to do a single crochet that I've already done, an increase, so 2, 3 is an increase, and 4 again a single crochet, 5 is a single crochet, 6, 7 is an increase, 8 is a single crochet, 9 is a single crochet, 10, 11 is an increase, 12 is a single crochet, so again a single crochet, an increase, and a single crochet, a single crochet, an increase, and a single crochet, a single crochet, an increase, and a single crochet. Now that's a row done. What I have to do is again cut the yarn, leaving just a little bit of a tail to sew the end in. Oops. I'm not going into the first stitch, I'm going into the second stitch because I am overlapping the first stitch. All I have to do now is secure it with a knot. Now I'm at the last 2 rows, so I'm gonna grab my white yarn. Now where you want to actually start is between, as you can see, hopefully you can see, there are like edges that you kind of get, 6 edges. You want to start in between those 2 of the edges. Do chain 1, again the tail going around, and because it's between the edges I'm gonna do an increase first, and now I have to do 3 single crochets, and I have to repeat that 6 times. So an increase and 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3. Again, an increase, and 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3. An increase, and 3 single crochets, an increase, and 3 single crochets, an increase, and 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now that I'm gonna join it with the first stitch, and once joined, I'm gonna pull really tightly. I'm gonna do another chain 1, again pulling it really tightly, and now continue with the last row. The last row is 2 single crochets in an increase and another 2 single crochets, and the first stitch is done in the same stitch that I currently am in. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 is an increase, 5, 6. Now I have to repeat those 6 stitches 5 more times. So 2 single crochets, an increase, and 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, an increase, and 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, an increase, and 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, an increase, and 2 single crochets. That's 1, 2. Now 2 single crochets, an increase, and another 2 single crochets. Now that it's done, I can cut the yarn. Don't forget, this one doesn't have to be long because I only have to make a knot. With the next one that I'm gonna be making, I will leave a bit longer tail because I'm gonna be then sewing all the things together. So again, I'm not going into the first stitch, I'm going into the second stitch because I am overlapping the first stitch. And coming back from where I came from. Securing it with a knot. Now I did already secure all the ends in, so I can just cut it. Yeah, my jar of loose ends is filling up again, or still. Now this is one side, now I'm gonna go for the other one, and with the other one I'm gonna do a bit different changing of colors, but don't worry because it's gonna be super easy again. So again, I'm gonna start with the green, magic ring, yarn twice around my thumb, I'm going in, chain 1, and that's it. Now I have to do 6 single crochets, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I want to pull the yarn, the loop close. Now I have to join the loop, the round, and this goes into this stitch, but I'm dropping the green yarn, I'm grabbing the red yarn and I'm pulling it through. Okay, so this is now gonna be the beginning of row number 2. Row number 2 is chain 1, and again pulling the chain 1 tightly, and I have to do 6 increases, and I'm gonna begin in the same stitch that I currently am, because the last stitch I'm gonna tighten it up with my green yarn. So I need 2 single crochets, another 2 single crochets, another 2 single crochets, another 2 single crochets, another 2 single crochets, and the last 2 single crochets. Okay, so here's the green working tail. I'm pulling it really tightly. I'm dropping the red yarn, grabbing the green one. When I go into my work, into the first stitch, I'm pulling the green yarn towards me, and I'm securing the end with the red one. Now the next row goes from 12 to 18, so that means I'm doing a chain 1 just to go up into the next row. I'm doing a single crochet in the same stitch, and now an increase, and I have to repeat that 6 times. So a single crochet and an increase, 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 and that was my last stitch. So all I have to do now is grab again the red yarn, drop the green one, grab the red one, go into the first stitch, pull the yarn through and pull the green one as tight as possible. Chain 1 again, pulling it as tight as possible, because I'm doing a single crochet stitch in the same stitch. So that's stitch number 1 done. I have to go from 24 to, no, from 18 to 24. I'm gonna do a single crochet, an increase, and another single crochet, and I have to repeat that 6 times altogether, so 5 more times. A single crochet, an increase, and a single crochet, a single crochet, an increase, and a single crochet, a single crochet, an increase, and a single crochet, single crochet, an increase, and a single crochet, a single crochet, an increase, and a single crochet. Now what I'm thinking is doing one more row of red, and then the last row is gonna be white, so that the edges are gonna be white on both. So I'm not doing anything with the green yarn. I'm going into the first stitch, pulling it, closing it up, pulling it really tightly, the stitch that kind of joins the round, and doing a chain one, pulling it tight, and doing a single crochet in the same stitch. Now to go from 24 to 30, I have to do an increase and then 3 single crochets. So that's an increase and 3 single crochets. And I have to repeat that altogether 6 times, so I need to repeat it 5 more times because I already made the first one. So an increase and then 3 single crochets. An increase and 3 single crochets. An increase and 3 single crochets. An increase and 3 single crochets, an increase and 3 single crochets. Now I'm gonna cut the yarn, all the yarn, the green and the red one. I'm gonna pull the red one through. Now I have to do the invisible join. Don't forget, with the invisible join you skip the first stitch and you go into the next one. So I'm skipping the first stitch, I'm going with my needle into the second one and going back from where I started. And that's it. Now I can just secure it. Now the green one, I also just need to make a knot to secure it in place. So I actually showed you 2 ways of changing color. One is doing the invisible join on each round. The second one is because I was, grabbing the yarn into the next row and switching it more often. That's why I didn't cut it, but I think it still looks really nice and pretty. So the last row is gonna be done in white. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna double check where I have an increase stitch. So I'm gonna go between 2 increases in a stitch. I'm gonna do a chain one. I'm gonna leave just a little bit longer tail because I want it to go all the way around here. Sorry. So that's it. Now I'm just gonna start with a chain one and a single crochet, actually an increase in the first stitch because I went with my beginning of this row between the 2 increases, and because it's between those 2 increases, the increase has to be between them. Okay, so this is now first stitch. Now to go from 30 to 36, it's an increase and 4 stitches. So that's 1. And now I have to do 4 single crochets. So that's 2, 3, 4. But what I am actually gonna do with the 4th one, I'm actually not gonna go into this row. I'm gonna go into one row below. And if you're asking why, you can see there's a little longer single crochet. So now I have to do an increase, 3 normal single crochets, so that's 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one is from the row below. Now the next stitch is an increase, 3 single crochets, now the next single crochet is from the row below. That just makes it a bit longer. You could also go 2 rows lower if you want, but I think 1 row is enough. Now the next stitch is an increase, and then 3 single crochets, and the next one is gonna be the lower one. Again, an increase, 3 single crochets, and the next one is gonna be a lower one, an increase, 3 single crochets, and the next one is gonna be a lower one. Now what I have to do is invisible join and leave just a bit of a tail to sew the things together. So I'm pulling it through, grabbing my needle. Actually, this one is the pointy one. I want the round one because why stab myself if I don't have to, right? This one goes up here. So yeah, now first the invisible join. The invisible join is gonna be made again not in the first stitch, it's gonna be made in the second stitch because I wanna overlay the first stitch. So this is the first stitch. I'm not gonna go into the first stitch, I'm gonna go into the second stitch, pull the yarn and go back to where I started from, pulling it tight so you kind of get the same size. I'm gonna secure it just a little bit and then I'm gonna actually start with my joining. I already told you I do nowadays prefer joining them like that because you don't see the crooked edge, but everything is nice and in the same, you know, both sides have the same nice edge. Okay, so that's my 2 done. So I'm gonna just go into 1 and then go back into the second one, and because it's 36 stitches on both sides, all I have to do is go from one side to the other through top of the stitches. one more stitch, and it's closed. So all I have to do now is go into the middle here and make the size of the loop that I want. I'm gonna make a knot. And I'm gonna hide the knot into the work. And that's it. Now I can cut the yarn. I'm gonna flatten it a bit, and the ornament is done. So this is it. It's two-sided, as you can see. I showed you two different ways to change the color. On this side I showed you how to change the color each second row with the invisible join. On this side I showed you how to change the color, kind of pulling or going with the color into the next row. And I showed you also a stitch where I did a single crochet one row lower, just to give it a nice icy look, I will say. Okay, so this is it. This is actually gonna be the end of the series, where I've done all the flat ornaments. So I have a triangle, I have a circle, and I have a square. And guess what? Now that you have the basic shapes, you can do whatever you want with it, but I am gonna let you into a little secret. There are gonna be 2 more videos regarding flat basic shapes, but I'm not gonna say what it is and what it's gonna be, so I guess you have to stay tuned, perhaps subscribe and like the video so you're gonna get notified when I'm gonna have something new out. And until the next time, I'm gonna say happy crafting!